welcome back. If you remember from last videos, we looked at photosynthesis, chloroplast, 2 steps of photosynthesis, light dependent and Calvin-Benson cycle. The very last video, we introduced cellular respiration. Remember, we made the turn and we talked about calories, and we talked about that we're going to do on Thursday. So now I want to go a little bit deeper into cellular respiration, and we're going to look at the structure of mitochondria, and we are going to describe the first of 3 steps in the process of cellular respiration. So go ahead, grab a blank notebook page and write down. By the way, it has been requested that I use purple, so I'll be using purple. No more requests though, because after that then I'm in charge because I'm going to color coordinate things. So go ahead and write down structure of a mitochondria. Structure of a mitochondria. All right, so just like most things in biology, we're going to draw an oval, right? But then this oval is going to have little squiggles in it. Squiggle, and this is a horribly crude drawing. Yeah, this is just a basic general idea, right? The basic idea is that the inner membrane has lots of surface area, so it has these folds called cristae, right? Which you don't need to know. But it's basically a double membrane, and the inner membrane has a lot more surface area than the outer membrane. So 4 parts to a mitochondria, just like there were 4 parts to a chloroplast. So there's the outer membrane. Outer membrane. Then there's the inner membrane space. Right? And then, lo and behold, things actually make sense sometimes. It's the inner membrane. But now we run into a problem because we already have the inner membrane space, so this can't be called the inner membrane space, so this is actually called the matrix. All right, so that's your basic process of, or sorry, that's not the process. That's your basic structure of the, come on, not cellular respiration. Find the words. That's the structure of a mitochondria. There we go. Now we're going to talk about process of cellular respiration. Process of cellular respiration. So it's broken down into 3 basic parts. First part is glycolysis. Glycolysis. Second part is Krebs cycle. In AP biology, we learned that there's actually like a 1.5 step called pyruvate oxidation, but I kind of include that as the little stem of the apple in Krebs cycle. You'll see that in the next video. And then third is called the electron transport chain. Or as I will affectionately refer to it from now on, the ETC. All right, sweet. So let's dive right in. Process of glycolysis. Process of glycolysis. It should be enough. Okay. So in AP biology, we go through it. It's actually 10 steps. For us, we're gonna kind of narrow it down to 5 steps. And this, just so we're all kind of oriented, this is the only process, or this is the only part of cellular respiration that happens outside of the mitochondria. So the process of glycolysis, this occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. Occurs in the cytoplasm. All right, so first I'm going to draw the process, and then we're going to describe the process in words, and that will be color coordinated. So glycolysis starts with sugar, right? So we're going to have an oxygen and then carbon in a little hexagon shape right here, carbon, and then off of this carbon, we have another carbon. So this is our sugar. This is C6H12O6. So Mr. Leo, okay, I see the 6 carbons, I only see 1 oxygen, I see no hydrogens. What's going on here? Well, this is simplified. I could draw all the hydrogens and all the oxygens and everything like that, but it would get too complicated, and you really don't need to know that because we only care about the carbons, because that's the main thing that gets broken down, right? So this is glucose. Okay, start with that. Okay, and then the first 4 steps in glycolysis is called our energy investment fully charged battery, and we're going to put that in. Right, and that's going to give its phosphate groups to glucose, and it's going to make it into a different molecule. And then the ATP is going to give off its energy, right? So it's going to come out as a partially charged battery, ADP. Okay, and then that's going to make this compound so stinking energetic that it can't do anything. It's just going to split, right? So then we're going to have 1, 2, 3 carbon and a phosphate group, and 1, 2, 3 carbon and a phosphate group, just like that. Okay, so that's the energy investment phase, right? If we're thinking in terms of chapter 2, right, in terms of our energy graph, we have energy, we have time, right? And cellular respiration is overall exothermic. We're giving off energy, right? We're breaking down glucose in the present. We're going to have 2 ATP. Whew, almost forgot, that would have been horrible. So these 2 ATP, that's the activation energy right there. That's the energy that we need to get this reaction started. Okay, everything else, it's all downhill from here. Literally, we're releasing energy. We're going down this side of the graph, right? So the first little bit is that we're going to remove those phosphate groups, and we're going to do other stuff with oxygen and hydrogen that you can learn about in AP biology. And we're going to end with 2 just kind of regular 3 carbon compounds called pyruvate. Pyruvate, or another word for it is pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid. Perfect. So we're breaking something down. So whenever we break something down, energy is released. Now our cells, our body wants to capture that energy. So it does that in 2 ways. First of all, it can use that energy to charge up 4 batteries. So we're going to have 4 ADP that are just kind of hanging out in the cell because the cell is continually using ATP. So we have some partially charged batteries just kind of hanging out. And those are going to swoop in, and they're going to capture some of that energy, and they're going to turn into 4 ATP, 4 fully charged batteries, right? Then we're also going to rearrange some hydrogens and some electrons and stuff like that. So we're going to take 2 NAD+, right? And those are going to swoop in, and those are going to take some electrons and some hydrogens, and it's going to fill up that basket. And so then we're going to end with 2 NADH. Just like that. Okay, so that's the process in pictures. Look at the process in words, and I'm going to color coordinate this. Okay, so step 1, we start with glucose. Start with glucose. All right, so up here, that's step 1. Step 2, we're going to invest some energy. Invest some energy. So that's what we're taking 2 fully charged batteries, and then we're using that energy, draining that energy, and then we end up with 2 partially charged batteries right there. So that's step 2. All right, step 3 then, right, is going to be we get this 3 carbon compound. So glucose splits. Glucose splits into 2, 3 carbon compounds. Carbon compounds, right? And you see how there's 2, right? So there's 1 3 carbon compound, and then there's 2 3 carbon compounds, just like that. So that's step 3. And then step 4, right, is going to be right here. So step 4, we're going to break down. This is the longest one, bear with me. We're going to break down our carbon compounds. Break down our, oops, shouldn't be a period. Oh well, don't draw that period. Break down our carbon compounds, releasing energy. Right, some of that energy is going to be captured. Some of that energy Some of that energy will be captured by ATP. 4 ATP are produced, right? And NADH, right? 2 NADH are produced. Okay, so that's step 4. And then step 5, let me see, yellow. Okay, come on up here. Thank you. All right, so then step 5, that's kind of hard to see, but you guys get it. So step 5, we end with pyruvate. So step 5, we end with pyruvate. And that molecule then begins the next process of the Krebs cycle. So in this video, we looked at the structure of a mitochondria, and we also looked at the overall process of cellular respiration, the 3 steps: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. And then we went in depth and we talked about the 5 steps in glycolysis. So this has been Mr. Leo. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.